We are back on the AmernActOnEnergy.com pregame show right here on the Cardinals Radio Network as the Redbirds have their final home game of the 2014 regular season, playing host to the Cincinnati Reds. It's a big night, not only because it's the final home game of the regular season, but a very special guest who's actually joining us here in studio and will be honored, and rightly so, before tonight's game between the Cardinals and the Reds is Reverend Bill Greason. He was the first African-American pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals just a few years ago, back in the 1950s. Reverend Greason, thanks so much for swinging by and saying hi. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, and you? Thank you for inviting me to
Well, it is a complete honor to have you here on our Cardinal pregame show. Your stint with the Cardinals wasn't that very long, though, however, was it?
No, they said I received a cup of coffee, and they sent me back. So.
Yeah. But you spent some time in the Cardinals minor league affiliate, which was in, I believe, Columbus, Ohio at the time, right?
Ohio, Houston, Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Bob Gibson and I played together in Rochester before we came here.
You did?
Yeah. So,
he was pretty good, wasn't
he? Yeah, he was very good.
Now, do you remember, because that was the days when you got your stint with the Cardinals, though, that was Red Shandy's was here. Of course, we'll be on the field with you before tonight's game, but also Stan the Man, that was kind of like when he was starting to hit his apex here.
Yeah, and Alex Grammas. And I think Ray Jablonski played third base, and Shane D second base. Bill Sarney was catcher.
Mm-hmm.
Wally Moon, and who else was in the outfield? After 90 years.
I understand that.
But those were some of the guys that I remember.
Reverend Bill Greason, the first African-American pitcher in the Cardinal organization, kind enough to join us. And again, he'll be honored before tonight's game between the Cardinals and the Reds. You did spend some time in the Negro Leagues, though, however, right?
Yeah, I started with the Birmingham Black Barons. In fact, Willie Mays and I are teammates, and we still are good friends.
Really?
And I've been going to Frisco for the last 4 or 5 years with him for his birthday, and I played through part of 51, and I had to go back to the Marines. And of course, I stayed in another year. They wouldn't submit to Korea. They kept me at Camp Lejeune to play on the baseball team, and I was the only Afro-American to be on the team.
And of course, you were a part of World War II, correct?
You're absolutely right.
Tell some of the Cardinal fans what your role was in World War II.
Well, we were in what we call a supply outfit. We were attached to the 4th Marine Division, and 3 days after, I believe February 19th, 1945, when they invaded the island of Iwo Jima, 3 days later we went on the beach to take supplies to the troops and everything, and we stayed there from April, I think, through May sometime. But I was blessed to survive. A couple of my best friends were killed, and God spared my life, and I promised if he saved me, whatever he wanted me to do, I would do it. I didn't know I would end up being a minister, though, but it doesn't bother me.
You mentioned being a minister, and again, Reverend Bill Greason, the first African-American pitcher for the Cardinal organization, is with us here. Anything that happened professionally in your baseball years provide you to become the great minister that you are down in Alabama?
Well, you know, in the 50s, you know what you had to deal with, travel and hotels and all of that stuff. And of course, my parents taught me when I was young to know who you are and not worry about things. And that stays with me. Even today, I tell them I don't worry about anything because I'm going to live until I die. And I can't change this world. In fact, seemingly God can't change it. But we're going to accept what he allows us to do.
Well, 90 years young, you and Red just look absolutely awesome for 90 years old.
Well, thank you very much. This is all about God. I've had 2 major operations this year. I have a pacemaker, and then I had colon cancer, and they found it and got it out and told me to keep on keeping on. So I'm going to go until I can.
That's fantastic. Now, you're throwing out the first pitch. Now, I understand that you had a pretty good curveball back in the day. Are you going to be throwing that hook or just a straight fastball?
If I can get it straight, I'll be doing well. I had a pretty good smoke to go with it, which made it more effective. I threw overhanded, and it was like falling off a table. They called it a drop at that time.
Right.
Yeah, but I threw it 3/4 also. I was blessed with this gift. All of this was a gift from God. I didn't have anybody to teach or train me. And of course, once I started playing baseball, my favorite pitcher was Vic Raschi, the New York Yankees. I used to watch his style, and I tried to pattern out after him.
Well, Reverend Greason, thanks so much for swinging by. It is an absolute honor to meet you, and good luck with that first pitch tonight.
Thank you very much. Be blessed.